Hi, it's Doug Kooy with my buddy Ron. We're going to do a little coffee shop rant right from Vancouver Gastown Smart Mouth Cafe. All right, I was in Calgary, Ron. Now I like Calgary. My son lives in Calgary. I mean, you know, my granddaughter lives there. It's a nice city. I was listening to sports radio. You know what they did? Yeah. For 2 hours, all they did was trash Vancouver.
That doesn't surprise me. I lived in Calgary a couple times for about a year and a half each time. That's about par for the course. But they do the same thing to their own team. Don't get me wrong. But that doesn't surprise me that they're doing that.
Here's the thing that surprises me a little bit. We only have 2 teams left as we're doing this.
Vancouver.
Montreal, Vancouver. But if Vancouver loses and Montreal wins, I'm all over Montreal. That's the only Canadian team we have left.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, Canada. I mean, let's have a little pride here. What are these yo-yos doing in Calgary? I think it's this whole syndrome, Ron, that 95% of the people in Calgary really want to live in Vancouver.
Yeah, I think so. I told you, people in Calgary want to live in Vancouver like people in Toronto want to live in New York. It's the same thing. It's no different. Envy gets you nowhere.
But at a certain point, a rivalry has to stop. Yeah. And you sit back and say, okay, let's put the gloves aside. Let's support Canada. Vancouver's in there. So I guess here's the question we're asking, right? Okay, everybody else in Canada, if your team didn't make it in, but another Canadian team is in, why don't you man up, or woman up, is that a term? Woman up, and support the team that's in there. Be an athletic supporter. Maybe that's not the best way to say that. Yeah, come on, and get in there and root for the team that's in there, okay? I mean, that's what we do. And believe me, if Calgary was in, Vancouver was out, I'd be rooting for Calgary. So, Calgary, it doesn't do you guys a whole lot of good, and it doesn't reflect good on you to be taking this kind of a stand. And I realize it's probably just the goofballs that, you know, have to make a living trying to act like they're sportscasters and know what they're... Who are these guys anyway? Okay, so there you go. So what do you think? If your team doesn't make it in, vote for the team that made it in. It's just the right thing to do. So what do you think?